Bartail has been one of the persons who's watched all the shows. I talk to him on a regular basis in the EverQuest Next IRC channel.
What we saw with, Kunark for EQ2, you did those 400 quests, you did all the content, and at the end of it, the world wasn't changed.
Yeah, I'm Phantom X. I do social media and write articles for EQ Nexus.
For the Fall of Bastion, there was a very definite, okay, this is where your story is going to fit into the world.
Listen, fluffy looking bear, thank you. Listen, I went and I killed a dragon, and then 2 drops of whiskey hit my face, and I willed this manly beard into cow was raising, yes!
Hello and welcome to Evercast, connecting gamers with the game they play. This is episode number 51, which we have titled "Say What?" I am your host, Stanley. With me are the other 3 normal hosts. Evidently, that was...
Hold on, I am not normal.
Okay, are you regular? Can I say that with us are our other 3 regular hosts?
Yeah. Are you regular?
Tamlin?
Yes.
You're going to hell for this.
10 out of Evercast. Are we regular?
So, again, I am your host, Stanlin. I'm one of your 4 normal hosts. With me are the other 3 slightly less normal, regular. I don't know. You guys say something. How would you say it?
I'm Lucy. If there's a sexual innuendo, I'll make it. You've been warned.
Lucy, the sexual innuendo.
Oh boy.
I can hear myself in my headphones. I apologize. It totally fucks me up.
Oh, jeez. Oh, I'm flattest. I got nothing after that. I got him to say what? So after that, I lose all... This train's off rails already. It's great. It's 51.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
It's amazing. I did that. I didn't even practice it. Like, that was just like deep down inside, I've always wanted to do it.
I'm glad I made you live your dream today.
It's true. So, and the reason why I think that we went with Say What is because later on in the show, one of our topics is about pronunciation and the importance or irrelevantness of correct pronunciation when it comes to certain words. Then also on the agenda to talk about tonight is a little bit of immersion and, of course, the landmark news with the update to the upkeep and the claim wipe stuff. But before we get to that, ECAST news. Yeah, it's like that.
I'll try to find something that segues into that.
Thank fucking God.
Please do. All right. Sorry, Plautus, you were saying.
Oh no, I said let's not make our own. I don't know if let's see if this just destroys me. I'm still talking. You guys can hear me?
Sweet! Soundboard's working too.
Yeah.
So, ECAST news is that between our last show, which was 2 weeks ago, and this show, Project Fanfare, which is the fan-made, fan-ran replacement for SOE Live that's taking place in Las Vegas, August? It's sometime in August. I don't know the exact date. But if you follow the link that I just posted, it'll tell you exactly when it is. But they launched a Kickstarter campaign to make sure that nobody was going to be out a huge amount of money trying to make an event happen that didn't have the support behind it. So I encourage you all, if you're listening to us now live on Twitch or on YouTube or catching the audio on Stitcher, please go and check out the Kickstarter, and I hope to see you guys in Vegas. Boop-a-doo. Moving right along.
August 14th, 15th, and 16th.
Yeah, what she said. August.
That's what she said.
All right. Other ECAST news, and I know this is kind of like out there, but we've talked a little bit about LARPs, and we've talked a little bit about going to reconnaissance fairs.
I want to go to like everyone just
really quick,
sneaks
hold on,
around.
hold on. If anybody has ever watched the movie Megamind, Hanlon, my husband, totally Megamind. Atrocity. I swear, just watch Megamind. Have my husband and his pronunciation.
I get lazy with like I'll read something and I'll pronounce it in my head, and that pronunciation will get stuck in my head regardless of like the correct. And the one that I can point to the easiest is, and I have to force myself to think about it, Authenticator, right? You know, it shows the little key code so that you can log into your account, right? Because the first time I read it, I read it as Authenticator. And so for like years in the house, it was Authenticator, not Authenticator. And yeah. Are you okay?
Authenticator.
You get something in your eye?
Ooh, I do declare!
It will not stop watering.
Oh, you could have put on like
really, really uncomfortable.
It's perfect.
I know, right?
Oh, you could have a fan and just put on a southern drawl and be like, oh, I do declare. Ooh, you give me the. Ooh. I'm all choked up over here, Mr. Tanlin.
Does she have the vapors?
Oh, you give me the vapors.
You know how doctors used to cure that, right? Everybody here knows, right?
What?
Look it up.
What's up?
When women used to get the vapors, look up the treatment.
Oh yeah.
Now you got me Googling.
It was a medical device.
Google it.
So, along the realm of like the SCA and LARPs and Renaissance Fair, Mad Max, they're rebooting the movie. It's coming out later this year, and there's this event that's going on out in the middle of the wastelands of California called Wasteland Weekend. And they put on tickets for sale yesterday, and I bought a ticket, and it's going to be cool, and I'm going to go to it, and I'm going to take pictures, and I will report back to you guys how much insanity it really is.
Notice how he said he bought a ticket. I'm so not going.
Right. So, other than that, the other bit of ECAST news we have along the lines of MMOs and video gaming. Flatus, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about the news of Final Fantasy XI. And this is not Final Fantasy 14, but Final Fantasy XI.
Yeah, Final Fantasy XI is going through some changes this year. It'll continue into next year. Final Fantasy XI will be finishing, oddly enough, despite its name, it will be finishing its storyline this year. By March of 2016, they will be off of consoles, the PS2 and 360. They will no longer support there. And PC will continue to have support into the foreseeable future until I believe Square feels that everyone has experienced the last bit of story that they're going to be putting out for Final Fantasy XI. It's going to be over a 3-part through a set of patches. And it's going to add some new gameplay that they never had in Final Fantasy XI. So if you've ever played Final Fantasy XI or were really invested in the story, this would be maybe the time, or when they start that, to go back and try it out and maybe say goodbye to your world that you met some good friends in and stuff like that. So it's always sad to see something like that happen. It's not shut down completely, but no new content will be made. So it's rough to hear for the people that play Final Fantasy XI that are waiting for something like EQN or haven't tried Final Fantasy XIV or haven't gone on to something else. It's rough to hear that something that's going to happen, because you know that nothing new will. And once you're done playing, there's nothing new to experience. So what really keeps you in the game after that? So sucks. Maybe we hope we don't want to hear it happen to EverQuest 1. We never know. So let's. But if you did play that game and you met some of your friends there, go back, try it out, maybe get them together, see if you can just go experience the world or do that storyline and finish the story that you loved. One of the big reasons why we play MMOs is for not maybe the content or the game itself. Sometimes I think it's for the social aspect and the people we meet. So, maybe you can get in touch with some of those old friends and have a little run through. All right.
And we talked a little bit about it, and we said that because there's Final Fantasy XI and then there's Final Fantasy XIV, like there's the two MMOs that are going on right now. We were like, what they should do is that they should be like, hey, if you're subscribed to Final Fantasy XI all the way up to the point that they're turning off the servers like that final month, they should give you a code that is redeemable for a full copy of Final Fantasy XIV, including up to whatever expansion pack they're up to, maybe, so that just to allow those players that to go from one game right into the next, giving them a month to try it out and be like, thank you for sticking with it until the end. But it's not the end of Final Fantasy, it's just the end of that game specifically.
Yeah.
And then we didn't talk about, but I just remembered, Final Fantasy XI, that originally was on the PlayStation 2, right?
PlayStation 2 and
2
3.
And 3. Right.
And 360. So
it's been around for an incredibly long time.
Yes. So it is what Square Enix kind of modeled it after a little bit of EverQuest. So it's very EverQuest one in its sense of like combat and how it's played and stuff like that. So if it was kind of like Square's answer to EverQuest out in Asia, out in Japan land over there. So that's where they had their way, and it came over here. It was really popular. It was already a franchise that people knew and recognized, so it was kind of fun for them to play around with over there. So, yep. But don't we have we're gonna segue into something here?
Oh, that's right. I forgot to mention it. That was supposed to be in our introductions and our hellos. Kai Lest got talked into picking up Final Fantasy XIV, and I had bought it. I bought it when it was on a Steam sale a couple months ago, and so we're finally checking it out and playing it out. And I want to. Flatus and I both agree that I need to get out of the starting area that I'm in before I can give it a true impression of it, like tell you guys what I think about it. But I'll just say that the tutorial is brutal, like on the rails.
It is. Even a guy who pushes the game and says it's fantastic. The tutorial is really, unless you're playing with a controller. That's one of the things that you can do in Final Fantasy XIV is that you can play the game with a controller on your PC or the PS3 or PS4 version. So I have another friend who just started playing, and he has done the tutorial once with a keyboard and mouse and felt it was grueling, but playing it with a controller, he felt he needed it. So take that as you will.
That's pretty cool. I want to get in about when I started playing Vanguard. That's when it was. So before I first started playing MMOs, I had a computer and I bought a USB controller because I was playing a lot of emulated games, and it was easier to play them on a controller that way than it was to, use the keyboard and mouse. So I've definitely played video games on a PC with a video game controller rather than a keyboard and mouse. So I think that I should, try that out again and see how it goes.
Yep. Shinter plays on our server as well. Shinter had bought the game, and he says, yeah, it gets better after the tutorial. And Kai Lest, Fat Chocobos are the greatest mount ever.
Yeah,
They're so awesome.
Wait. Do they waddle?
Yes, and they and their song is such
the
like.
greatest mount ever.
You know how you get them to go forward is that your character sits on their back with a fishing pole with a string and a cabbage attached on the end of it.
Obviously.
Yeah, and their song is very bum ba ba da da bum ba ba. It's so like yeah, and they're big, just fat little birds. It's great.
how do I get one?
Apparently, you kill Flatus and take his.
All right. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I've run across the greatest mount in Warcraft ever, and it is the heirloom mount. If you're not familiar with the heirloom mount, you get it at level 1. You can ride it, which is different from all the other mounts in Warcraft. But it's the motorcycle with the sidecar. But instead of sitting on the motorcycle, you sit in the sidecar, and you have a chauffeur driving you all around. And my goblin, my gangster, goblin, I thought that it was really cool that he had an orc in a top hat driving him around as he sat in, chauffeured in the sidecar. But that paled in comparison to the epicness of the gigantic Owlkin for sitting in the sidecar being driven around. It's the greatest mount in Warcraft right now. I'm having
Owlitzer.
Owlitzer, yeah, Owlkin, Owlitzer.
Owlitzer.
Boom chicken. So, I think that was it for ECAST News. Kylust, Flatus, and myself are trying out Final Fantasy XIV. Lucy, you're still playing Guild Wars 2, and I made a Guardian, and I mean to play on that server at some point in time. It's just a matter of finding the time.
I've actually started playing a little Azura Thief, and it's a lot of fun, because she's like, this big. She runs around.
I love these.
She's got floppy ears.
They're so cute.
And it's basically the cutest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Right.
And she has a gun and she shoots people in the face with her kneecaps.
Do you do the double pistol, or do you do pistol dagger?
Dagger pistol. I actually really like dagger pistol. You're like popping all over the place with it.
Yeah, that's what I played.
I don't like sitting still. My main is a Mesmer who focuses with the staff, so she's like always like teleporting places. Love it. I do not like holding still.
Evidently, my dogs at this point in time is the greatest time ever to lick my hand. You guys ignore me so much of the time, except for when I'm trying to do something important. All right, so I think that was it for the ECAST news. There is a bit of landmark news in the form of the updates that they are putting out. One of them, the big one, in regards to your claim upkeep, that was hot patched in this week, wasn't it? And that is that you're no longer going to have to pay upkeep. All you have to do to upkeep your claim is log in.
No, it's still copper right now because I've been farming copper all day to pay my upkeep.
Oh, have you? Okay, well they said, like, I was going back through the notes, and they said that the hot patch, or the hot whatever, the update that they were doing this week, it was supposed to be in there.
I know that station cash got removed from being able to be used to pay upkeep, but I think the second wave is that they're going to do it for just logging in.
Right.
But I unless I am like weird and it didn't update for me, I can still pay my upkeep with copper for right now, at least this afternoon / morning.
Well, that they have an upkeep since then, so that's probably going to be how it's going to be. But yeah, that's one of the things that people have been asking for, is easier ways to make their upkeep, and this is really the easiest way. They can't make it any easier for upkeep. All you have to do is log in. When you log in, it resets your cooldown timer. For every 2 unique days that you log in, your claim upkeep window is extended by a day, and it'll extend all the way out to 90 days. It starts at 7 days, and it goes all the way to 90. And then we've got a clarification on the wipe, because obviously everybody is really concerned about what they're going to lose when they wipe the servers going into the changes that they're going to make. The big news is that they're going to do a character and claim wipe sometime in April. I don't want to get into all the intricacies of what your found items that you found in chests and your bought items, and you go to the official forums if you have questions on that, because I can't keep up with all of the little well, if this, then this, that type of stuff. But what they have said is that your name is safe, your guild name is not safe. So when they do the character wipe, you won't have to recreate your character name, but you will, if you were in a guild, those guilds will all have to be reformed.
I think you have to recreate your character, but your name is, like, held for you.
Right, that makes sense too. I just know that they made crystal clear. Your name is yours, and you won't have to worry about somebody grabbing it.
Right, but not your guild name.
Right. I think that was it. Guild names are not safe. Absolutely, names are safe. They're doing a claim wipe coming in, and a claim and character wipe in April, and then they're doing another claim wipe before the open beta, but they have not said when that's going to be. I would like to think that it would be in sometime before May, but the news coming from Daybreak in the last 2 weeks since we did our last show seems to indicate that probably isn't. That's more optimistic on my end now.
I think Terry also said something on Twitter saying that non-unique names, meaning a name dot account name or not account name, but like overarching character name is still the plan. So non-unique names are still the plan, but your name is safe for the wipe. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. So eventually it's going to be, for example, if I picked Lucidity as my name, it would be, I could pick like something.Lucidity or Lucidity.Lucidity to have, whatever. But
right. And kind of like a couple of the games where you can have two accounts with like a same last name. Is that coming soon then?
I don't know. Terry said it was still the plan, but not yet, I think.
That's cool. Everybody knows that, like, when I role play with the Tanlin name that I've got right here, Tanlin is actually the character in the last name, and Isaiah is the first name. It's Isaiah Tanlin. I just used the last name because it's more unique, and you're more like in a lot of video games, like Isaiah is often taken, but Tanlin often is not. And so if you run into us in Final Fantasy, it's funny that you'll see Kylast with Tanlin at the end of it.
Tanlin's the Fonzie of our peers. Like he doesn't use Fonzarel. He doesn't use the first name. He uses the last name because it sounds cooler. Man, where's the leather jacket and the glasses?
I'm Mrs. Tanlin.
Yeah.
But I have my leather jacket. I should bust that out. But I don't fit into it anymore.
It's because those guns don't fit in the arm.
Is it real leather?
Yeah. Yes.
It's just stretch.
Taylor's got some pythons.
Not when we use.
Oh, okay. I have a jacket that I've had since high school, and now I'm not going to tell you how long ago that was. However, because I've kept wearing it, like it still fits, even though I am differently shaped than I was in high school, and it's because real leather, like real leather, it tends to like stretch to fit you if you wear it continuously. You know what I mean? Like if it's a small change over time, not like a big change.
I'm going to say that it was a small change over time, but it just happened in the area of the jacket that isn't going. I mean, like, yeah. Let's just say that it used to fit nice and kind of tight, but now it's extremely tight across the middle, and I'm not going to try putting it on.
That's because you developed an 8-pack, and those abs ain't nothing. No. I
had an 8-pack. I upgraded to the full keg.
That's just the gas tank to the love machine. That's all that is.
Anyway,
welcome to Evercast.
So exciting news. We have got some news about through the Kinos build competition. We actually have a lot of information about the character races and models. And this, I grabbed these screenshots from one of them was on the Landmark forums, I think, which is the actual layout of Kinos in relation to the world at large. There we have a picture of the Kinos Hills, which surround the city, and then the quarters of the city all drawn out. And then on the next screenshot I've got over here, this is like the actual layout of the Cydio in, I think that when I was walking the workshop, they said it was whiteboard art, and like, I feel like pretty good for just whiteboard art. But that is making...
Wait, that the whole thing whiteboard?
They took the I guess that they took the whiteboard art that they had drawn and like took a picture of it, and then they ran it through like an art editing program to
smooth it out.
Smooth it out to make it look like, you know.
Okay, because I was gonna say that those colors and stuff must have not been artboard, right? Like on the whiteboard, like and sit there with like a green dry erase marker.
Yeah. And so. And then through hold on. You want to see all of our faces again? Let me bring that up instead of a picture of our show outline. So they've gone over and they're talking about the size of the interior space, and I think that this is really interesting to know, like important to know, because like early on when we first started playing in alpha, I was like, well, what did we decide was the perfect size for a hallway? And I was like, oh, my hallways are 10 voxels high, and my doors are 6x9. And for an MMO, that's ridiculously tiny, and it constricts your camera. So what they've said is that an interior space should be like a 70x70 voxel space. Ceiling should be 30 voxels tall. Doorways should be 18x15, and a hallway, a good size for a hallway, is 30x30. So bam.
So based on that, based on that picture, we see that there. Like, I want to talk about the areas real quick, like that, because they did point out specific areas, and I kind of think it's interesting.
Okay,
like,
sure. Let me bring that back up if you want to. Okay, go on.
I think the one thing I don't think people are really looking at is like way out in the distance is the aqueduct.
the Fort Aqueduct, Aqueduct Fort.
I was like, is anybody out there, like, me, if somebody you know, or like anybody you know, is somebody building like the Aqueduct Fort or anything like that, like, or building something like related to the Aqueduct Fort? Because I think that would be interesting.
I'm sure somebody is. I mean, I've seen probably at least 4 different people doing the Keynote's Claymore. They have to be working on the aqueduct or the sewers. Like, one of those, I know somebody has to be working on it, because I did notice the aqueduct, and I got feels. Because it's so nostalgic to see that there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was one of the things that they talked about during the workshop show too, is that because Kinos is it's only a 20-year-old city, like the Noble area up at the top that you're seeing, where you can see that there's the castle, and that's all the old Elvish building that they've built on top of, and so the exterior walls of that area of the city will have a mix of the Elvish and Combine look put together. I had a point, but I lost it. Oh, they were talking about construction. That in other parts of the city, they would love to see like buildings in construction, like so that you have like a building that is half constructed. And I thought that was a really cool, because a young city and it's a growing city, so you're going to see kind of that, like, you know, one building complete, and then a street down, you see a whole neighborhood that's getting put up.
Also another question. It's not on the map, and yet I don't think it was really described. I wonder if any, because remember in EQ2, one of the cool things that I thought was in EQ2 is that in Kinos, they had the sewer system. Yet I don't see any. I would like to see if somebody was building like a sewer system, like
somebody.
Yeah, you saw somebody building a sewer system. What?
Yeah, no, Coda Voss. Coda Voss
was it Coda?
Yeah, it might have been Coda. I know that Jay Augustine responded saying that it should look older. It's not new in the city. I remember that on Twitter.
Right, and on the workshop they were talking about that was the other area of the city that is going to be. The old Elvish was the sewer system is going to be the new Combine city of Kinos is going to be built on top of this old Elvish sewer system.
Real quick, in chat, Fugazi EQ says the workshop competition's only 2 more weekends. This is going to be a tough build. All these specialty buildings.
Yeah.
Is this the shortest competition that they've
No,
had?
it's been going on for like I mean I don't want to think of that, but the Kinos build was announced prior to the Daybreak layoffs.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So
they've been
minus the timing, but So they've been building for a little bit of time now.
Right. So it's unfortunate that like they're saying like right now that they would like to see these type of things, and you have 2 weeks to complete it. But again, like I'm just reporting the facts.
For guys who said the competition period is short, it's the shortest, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't. If it is, maybe that's it. To me, as a person who wants to play EQN a little more than Landmark, no offense to everybody playing Landmark, but yay. but at the same time, I feel for you guys because that gives you more of a crunch. But then at the same time,
like some of them were stretched out a bit too long? Like okay, so it is in fact the shortest, or it is not in fact the shortest. Whatever. Is it short to the point like, oh my god, we didn't have enough time because we, compared to the other ones, we felt like they stretched on too long, or is it just, hey, it's short, but that's okay?
The Karen competition really did, because we had Thanksgiving during the Karen competition, I think, where nobody was in the office, so we had time to work on it. I think the Karen competition was like the longest one we've had.
Now, do you think that this is more of a where you have to give them a short time because of?
No, I think it has everything to do with beta and the claim wipe coming up.
Oh, okay.
I think also that they're trying to hurry it up. Like, they've heard us say, when is EQ Next coming out? Where is our content? Where are our updates? Let us see some stuff. And I think they need to hurry it. And honestly, I know that the people who have been winning these competitions time and time again want more time, but the stuff that they can produce in the short amount of time is way better than anything that I could produce at all, ever, given me a year, So I know that you guys, I want to assure you guys in chat, Fugazi, I know you've said that there's never enough time. You are going to do just fine. Your stuff is amazing. You're going to win no matter if you're happy with it or not. And maybe that's not the point. Maybe you want to be happy with it, but I know you guys are going to do great with the time you have.
And plus, we don't know what they'll do on their end, too. They may take your stuff and use it and then refine it themselves or add what they need to add to it. I mean, you got to think, your stuff is going to be... stuff that you've already won or competitions you've won is going to be in... We're going to see that stuff in EQN. That is the biggest, thing you could... listen, something I built in a game prior to the MMO that's coming out, the bigger MMO, is going to be shown a bit. I can't say that. All I could say is, I paid $100 and got my name in the credits. This is the best.
Yeah.
You have no idea the thing that I had when I realized that my tiny little ruin was going to be in Landmark forever. I was like, something I made? Really? Are you sure? Do you want to check it again? Really? But it's awesome. It's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I'm just not a builder. I'm a merchant and a crafter, and I'm waiting for those things. I keep waiting for I will be more excited about the upkeep change that they've made when I can put something on my claim that people will want to go to check out, like the vendor, my claim vendor, whatever that is there. Because as it is right now, my building, whatever I build, no one's gonna want it. I mean, I'm not gonna beat up myself too much, but there's no reason to go check it out. There really isn't.
Coverall. Coverall, I agree with you. Nobody's guaranteed to win. We're just saying, the people that we've seen win before, their stuff is fantastic. And some of them had enough time to refine and make things perfect. And I think that a lot of the people that are entering these competitions are want it to be as perfect as possible. Because that, as any artist, even if you're not an artist or you're good, someone that's good at something, you want it to be up to your standard. And sometimes Daybreak may not. They're listen, we know what your standard is. We've seen it. We've seen what your quality is, but we may need to be moving quick. So show us what you can do in a short amount. It's the same thing for and I hate to say it, but game developers sometimes have to work in crunches and they have to push out what the best they possibly can in a short amount of time. Sometimes you got to do the same. It's there's people that enter contests all the time that only have 2 weeks left in the competition and bust out something beautiful. So I mean, good luck to everyone that's entering the competition. From myself, I think you guys do great work.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully you see something.
A lot of times, and like when I was able to catch the workshop live, especially in the Karen one, there would be builds that I thought were absolutely fantastic, but they just didn't match what the devs were going for, like art wise or style wise. And so that's the reason that they didn't get selected. Or it could be like well, we already have 2 of these buildings, so we need to look at something else. So it's nobody's guaranteed to win, but there's still some absolutely amazing stuff that doesn't get picked just because it doesn't fit like necessarily what they're looking for as like a feel for the city too. So there's that to keep in mind.
So the other bit that they added to the Kino style sheet and showed us during the workshop show is a little preview of the character outlines and how tall they are in comparison to one another. And I grabbed these from the EQ Next German website, and I think it was I don't want to butcher his name because I will. Trelawnist. There's the 3 in his name on Twitter. But he tweeted these out, and I think that they're really good at showing the size comparisons of the different races based upon the information that Daybreak gave us. So here's a quick preview of them, where we have the dark, we have it's a female human, a dark elf, and then a large human, which is a male human. Showing them a little bit of the sexual dimorphism, where one sex is taller than the other, and then the Karens and the ogres. And then it's really cool because I can just go like boop, and you can see that these are the outlines that that Daybreak gave us of what the size of the different races will look like. So I can go back and forth between like, okay, this is the outline that they gave us, and this is like fan art superimposed over them, so that you can see how they look together.
When I saw this, when we kind of shut it off earlier to us, and I was kind of reviewing it, am I to say that doors are 6 foot tall?
No, voxels.
Oh, they're voxels tall. Okay.
And I was trying to do the math a little bit before the show, and in this estimation, a voxel is about 7.5 inches. It's definitely between 7 inches and 8 inches per voxel, because that puts the large human at between, I think it was 5'6" and 6'4". If a voxel is 7 inches tall, then the large human in that model is 5'6" or something like that. I don't know, but 7.5 is a good guess.
Did your nastiness just come out? And just, like,
no, not exactly.
Did you sat down and do math?
I did not. Okay, I tried doing it in my head. I did not bust out a calculator or anything like that. I was just thinking that, hey, if this is a large human at 8 voxels tall, and we make that about like 6'2", then how tall? How tall does that make the ogre? And so 75 inches, 80 inches, somewhere in that range.
Large human is 5'6". I'm a giant.
Right.
So I'm done by that standards. I'm definitely a large human.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Again, this is just math in my head.
Tamlin is 5'6".
And I'm a large human. Lucy, is that intentional?
I just something in my eye.
Right, so
hi, my name is Tamlin, and I'm a large human. Hi, Tamlin.
So,
I could say things.
Please don't. I was going to say.
You were cookies and plumbing, guys. No, I did it on another show. Just go back and look at that.
Yeah,
show.
it's in another.
She did.
Episode 400.
We were talking about like large humans, right? And when I was in the Marine Corps, we were talking about this with some of my other Marines, right? And there's only 2 types of Marines, right? Like big and angry and small and angry. But the joke, I forget how it went exactly, but it went something along the lines of like, when I'm dreaming, like me, Tamlin, the person is dreaming, I don't think of myself as a small person. So in my dreams, I'm always like 6'2", 250. And so it's like only when I see pictures of me standing next to somebody who's really tall, do I realize like, wow, I really am short, because otherwise I'll be standing next to someone who's like 6'2", and there's like 8 inches taller than me, and I feel like okay, so they're a little bit taller than me. No big deal. And today, a little bit more about me. In my mind, in my inner psyche, I'm 6'2".
I'm so sorry that you have to be there with him.
It's a cozy place. It's a friendly place, welcoming. Come on.
Filled with cobwebs.
I'm just gonna say that 6'2" is more than a foot taller than me.
I'm just gonna say that 6'2" is a foot taller than me.
More than a foot taller than me.
I'm taller than all y'all people. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're also younger than all y'all people.
I am. Woo! I have like mango. Just real quick. Now that because I work at a different company now, so now I can say things. I'm not saying that this Red's Wicked Apple Ale is my favorite, but I have a mango one, and I can't wait to try that. Could be my Hispanic background, but I really like mango, and I'm really excited to try it.
You can't have the mango.
Oh, but I want the mango. It comes in a can.
Reference.
I don't get the reference. I'm sorry.
Saturday Night Live, Chris Kattan character, mango.
Thank you.
Oh, I get it. No, it's fine.
Yeah, and
I
it's
couldn't
from
smack my ass
and
for the final effects. I had to make a.
What's funny is that one of my friends, their nickname for their little girl, their daughter, is Mango.
No.
Anyway, all right. So that is how I get us back on track. Yes, we are somewhat vertically challenged, and that's why whenever I see pictures of Truena, I forget how tall he is. He's a gigantic compared to the rest of us.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I saw him in his wedding attire, like he looked great. I'm just saying, like there was one point where I couldn't see his white shirt; it just looked like the black jacket, and I was like, he could easily be in what was it, the Son of Frankenstein, the comedy version? I can't remember what it was called.
Young Frankenstein.
Young Frankenstein. Like, a little bit of the Young Frankenstein thing going on. Super tall, very broad-shouldered. I was like, little Frankenstein action going on.
All right. So, pronunciation.
Sorry, Chewie,
Pronunciation. Pronunciation.
Pronunciation. You're not fancy.
Pronunciate.
Pronunciate. And enunciation. So we've been holding on to this particular topic for at least I have, because I saw something in a workshop show. This was workshop show number 27, so it was like 13 shows again, many weeks ago, and it stuck it got to me. It irritated me, and I know that that it irritates Kylest in the exact opposite way when people mispronounce the name and call her Celeste. So I'm gonna
die in the fiery pits of hell.
I am going to play the clip. And then we will come back to it and have our little conversation about it. Because I think we might get a little bit worked up over this one based upon how some of us feel. Namely,
actually forget about one of the most important things.
Oh, thanks,
and that's
Howard.
The pronunciation guide.
Oh, yeah.
Any discussion about this city should start with a pronunciation guide.
Is it not pronounced elves?
Elves.
Well, you guys have been pronouncing Quanos wrong, too.
Yes, because we've been pronouncing Quanos wrong. That was exactly my point.
Yeah.
Never do you hear as many pronunciations of EverQuest locations as you do when you go to the fanfare. Even back in the day, we used to have a panel that was nothing but pronunciation. We would just read off the names, and people were like, "That's not how it's pronounced." And I'm like, "Look, trust me, that is how it's pronounced." I talked directly to the guy who wrote that name down, and that's how it is pronounced.
I would love to have a panel that is nothing but sitting there.
All right, and I think at this point in time, you
pausing
get
between
the gist, the whatever.
Man, you came into that strong. You get the gist.
You understand that what they're trying to say, right? And they're trying to say that the correct pronunciation of Kinos is Kinos, and the only correct pronunciation of Kinos is Kinos, and there shall be no toleration of any other pronunciation of Kinos but Kinos. And
keep going.
I've been holding on to this rant forever. I hate it. I disagree with it. And I've got thousands of examples. Where would you like me to start? Would you like me to start with could somebody could somebody spell Colonel for me? Anybody spell Colonel for me and point out where exactly? Yeah. Where's the R at? Because I hear an R when I pronounce it, and when I say Colonel, there's obviously an R in there. I have coworkers who say Washington. Okay, that is the state that I was born. That is where I am from, and he says Washington. There's no R in it, but you know what I don't do? You want to know what I don't do? I don't correct him. That's how he says it. I know exactly what he means. I know exactly where he's talking about, and I don't. You know what? That's how he's going to pronounce it. Now, a little East Coast West Coast thing here, right? Is it crick or creek?
Creek.
Creek? Does no one pronounces it crick?
Crick?
I think you gotta go south that.
Super
south.
Yes.
Well, you can't get much further south than Gladys.
Hold on. I am past the point of Florida South where it's like I start to hit the. I don't want to say civilization. That's rude. It's like city again. like there's country. There's like farmland in gaps of Florida. So like you start hitting closer to like mid and going like Ocala, going into the Panhandle, up near Alabama, Georgia area. Then you get that southern draw in a lot of Floridians where you don't get it the further south you go. Like West Palm, where don't find me. But where I'm at, don't come looking for me, people. But where I'm at in the West Palm area going south towards like Miami, Key West, you have what I have. There's no southern. I can put on a southern drawl if y'all want, but that's not my tone. I don't have that, so I don't say crick. I say creek. But also, I was raised by a mother from Staten Island and a father from Cuba, so you get that. you get what. So I also say draw, so you get that from me sometimes too. So draw? Instead of drawer. Sometimes coffee. Sometimes say coffee with I get an accent sometimes. It just depends. If I'm around my family from New York, I pick up their accent easily. Like it comes out naturally. Like I'll just be like, "Oh, from New York. Yeah, I'll have some coffee. No problem." Like that comes out a little bit. So
I love you a little bit more now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's I mean, but. In an immersive world, in a world with depth to it, there's going to be regional variations of dialects and stuff, and I think that it's perfectly acceptable. It would be unique for them to be like, oh yeah, over in this area it's Kinos, but because of this race being from over here, and they pronounce things a little bit different, it's Quanos. You know, I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I don't think that we need to have a panel at SOE Live for them to break down how to pronunciate every freaking name and place and location. I think it's not necessary.
You asked me where we should start. I think we should start with how you're wrong.
Okay, Celeste.
And I'm going to tell you why.
Whoa! What? What? You were so excited.
I said, okay, Celeste.
Oh, man.
So, explain to us why are oh no!
Not sure how small I can make myself.
So, if I am the creator of a store, so I want to say echo. If I write a story, I want people to know what I mean with the definition, the way it's pronounced, with the way it's supposed to sound. I think they have every right who want to educate people on the way it's pronounced. And to have a panel is a great way to do it. Because then people can come to it at their own choice, should they wish to be educated on the proper pronunciation of somebody else's creation. And I would have absolutely sat through that with Tolkien. And you might have. And I would have,
No, because like Tolkien was one of the examples that I was going to bring up. Is he Gandalf? Is he Elomir? Is he Mithrandir? Gandalf himself has like 5 different names, all of them proper names, giving the context in which they were given. And as Tolkien was a linguist professor, I'm sure that he might take my side and be like, no, it's whatever, Gandalf, whatever.
That's just as bad as telling me that, that's not what the artist really means by those lyrics. Your interpretation is not right.
Sorry, I made it.
Gladys, I can't hear you.
Gladys, you're gonna need to do something.
Your microphone is up.
Sorry, listen. In all hilarity, right? I needed to take a break and bring myself back up. Sorry, my mic may have in loss of what was going on. I'll have to agree with the Kyless. Like, and it may not be people wanting to know how to pronunciate things, but it may be people interested so in the lore that they may sit through a panel just because there are people that want to sit down and just learn. It may not be like from like I need to know how to learn how to say this, but I mean I want to learn for my knowledge of the lore how to say like Kinos and stuff like that. Like, and which is fine. There's people out there that don't care and pronunciate things, and I'm split. I agree with Kyless in the panels. I absolutely, I'm a lore nerd, I would sit down and do that because to me, like, I can learn the names. Which is fine, and it's from a lore nerd kind of standpoint. But I agree with Talon. Like, I don't care if somebody comes up to me and says Washington. I know he's saying Washington. I'm not gonna harp the guy for it. So like, I'm on that. Like, I'm not saying I'm on the fence. It's more like I get both sides.
It must be an Oregonian thing because I grew up in Oregon, and it's Oregon, and it's literally Oregon is a word of contention amongst us. Point where it's them's fighting's words.
The Oregon Trail.
And here is where I would draw the line.
That's how I've been pronouncing it my whole life.
Oregon? Yeah, it's Oregon. Like one of the...
See, he just corrected it.
That's why they made that game the Oregon Trail. It was so close to Oregon.
No. But see, the thing is that if somebody was coming up to me like and saying like, "Hey, are you from Oregon?" I say no, I'm from Washington, and
Willamette. Are you from the Willamette Valley? Oh my God, it's the Willamette.
Yeah, we can have fun with Puyallup and all sorts of fun names for the Indian tribes in Washington State, the Native American tribes in Washington State. But, and then I'm going to draw a distinction. That if Tolkien had a panel where he was talking about the pronunciation of the different names and locations in his world compared to the difference between the pronunciation in the EverQuest Norath, right? The reason why I would sit in on Tolkien's and not on EverQuest Next is because, like, if you take a name simple as Gandalf, right, and look at what was Tolkien trying to communicate with the word Gandalf. Okay, it's 2 words, Gandalf, wand elf, or alternately, it meant staff elf. And so when you sit in on a Tolkien presentation and listen to him, he's talking about the poetry. So, hey, the word is pronounced in this way in this context so that it rhymes in this poem. Or because in this language, this reason, right? But the reason why I wouldn't sit in on a Daybreak one talking about names in Norath is because Kinos is request EQ or Sony EQ backwards. It means nothing. It's not part of any poetry or language. It's just a random group of letters flipped backwards. And that's why it is like, really? Does it really matter how it's pronounced? The name is meaningless outside of the context, where if there is any sort of What's up?
In the stream, they said that it was originally created to be Key, K-E-Y-N-O-S, Keynos. That was actually the name. And then they changed it to the Q so that it could be Sony EQ backwards.
Right. But why was it chosen to be Keynos? What type of How did they dissect a language to make it that word, other than just stringing random bits of characters together?
Because there's actually a word that's called a key, that is spelled Q-U-A-Y, but pronounced, and it is part of a bay or a, and I didn't have to Google that.
It doesn't matter. Are you trying to rhyme it with anything? Are you trying to show a deep level of Gandalf? Again, I'm going to point to that, the wand elf, the staff elf. Whereas, okay, what Kinos is called Kinos for what reason? If they're talking about the key, QUE, pronounced that like key because it means something. Why does it mean that? What is the story of between why they decided to call it there? If there was a reason and a method that they came up with that word, then I would care how people pronounced it just a tiny bit more, because I would be looking for what they were trying to communicate to an audience beyond just that this is this specific place.
We would probably need to rather speak to the man himself, the guy in charge over at Daybreak, and see if he'd let us even look at he still has it, which I'm sure he does. It's probably mounted on his wall behind a glass case.
I unfortunately don't think that person is there at Daybreak anymore.
Yes. Who? Are we talking about the same guy?
Jeffrey Butler?
No.
Who?
Earlier. Head honcho, bald guy.
Oh, Smedley. But Smedley bought the game after it was already being produced.
He did.
And I'm sorry, but Smedley, is he involved in the creative process? Because as far as I'm aware,
somewhat, but I think there is like a guideline, like a thick little document they had of like the world they were developing that had names and monikers in them. So if anybody had that, it would be him. It's probably still on his wall. Like, there, do you cue the paperwork? There it is.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
We could find out. Like, we could probably tweet somebody out and be like, somebody in chat, go tweet out Jay Smedley and be like, hey, Smedley, do you have like something that has like where you guys came up with names somewhere?
Well, come on. And sure, they might have it, but do they have an Elvish language? Do they have a Dwarvish language that's based on anything other than what they think sounds cool?
But don't they? I mean, well, they have runes in EQ2. They had runes, so they had like symbols for each thing because you had to learn the languages. So it was deciphered. So did they just make up squiggly lines?
I don't know. I remember in Ultima 4, like if you looked at the rule book with the spell book, it had runes all around the outside, but that's just Nordic runes, and you can translate it easily. Like, because Nordic runes have been around, and it's not like they didn't invent a language.
Remio is like cough ever cracked. Cough, seen it, watched it too many times.
Yeah, I just don't think it matters. I don't think that it matters to the point that you need to take a break in your workshop show to explain it to people, to make an issue of it. Again, I'm not making it an issue, but because I watched that show and they made
making it an issue on this live podcast.
I made an issue of it because they interrupted their workshop show to make it an issue. I'm responding to someone else bringing it up as an issue.
Was that who brought it up? Exactly. I was listening.
And Steve Demuser.
Interesting. The two people that are so strict about lore were the two people that brought it up. And I said earlier, it's probably the guy. Like I said, I'd be like the lore nerd would be the guy sitting in that chat. Of course, the lore nerd's gonna be the guy like, excuse me, sirs. It's pronounced Kino.
Let us do that again.
No. Like
that was 100% me. No. It's Quailist.
It's their butts are so clenched over the frickin' name pronunciation about it.
I love everything that's happening right now.
Not afraid to admit it.
Again, we got Kylest has another character, and I mispronounced it in TeamSpeak raid, and oh my god, I felt like we have like joked about like, oh, Tamlin's sleeping on the couch, but after that night, that was the closest. I'm like, man, I need to find some place to hide for a while. She's mad.
This may be the night that the couch is used.
I just have remembered that he wasn't refined and didn't take 2 years of Latin in college.
No, just 2 years of French.
And he still cracks jokes. Rich.
I took 6 of Spanish.
No, las cucarachas con descentres, pero no puede ser real.
Okay, I'm not Cuban, but I did take 6 years of Spain Spanish.
And I see. I think that would be fascinating because, like when we're looking at like the Latin roots of language, like a lot of MMOs like to incorporate like Latin-esque into their lore, and I think that that's really cool when they do that. If they can do it well and make it seem like you're basically doing it because you're adding layers of depth to your world, and so that there's like language is an evolutionary force. And it's funny that I brought up French because I detest the French language now because, like, the French are the people that have a bureaucracy in their government that is all about defining the language. And this word means this, and you can call this, and this is a grammatically correct sentence. And English, on the other hand, we accept any sort of influence and we just roll with it. Hey, Flatus, quesadilla, right? Why does 2 L's put together sound like a Y in English?
I don't know, man. I really love quesadillas.
Like, quesadilla is mine.
See, look at Lucy! She's not happy with that.
My Spanish teacher, the very first day of class, was so adamant that the double L does not pronounce that sound because you don't call it quesadilla, do you? I remember those words exactly. You don't call it a quesadilla, do you? No, it's a quesadilla. Thank you very much.
I don't know, man. And I love. I also love chicken vaginas.
It's like nails on a chicken.
I'm the only Hispanic one on the show.
You know what? Pronunciation thing must be a girl thing.
It's because I'm so studious. I think it's like because I was like I'm such a nerd. I really am. Like you guys saw the flashcards. I'm such a nerd. So like when I know something's right, when I know in my heart that something's right.
Honey, we love you and we love to hear you. You freaked out so much that you overloaded your mic and nobody can hear.
That is the sound of passion coming through in her voice.
I'm sorry.
You got so hot, you blew up the mic. You're good. You can talk. Just keep it here.
She's always so hot, she blows up the mic.
It's on. Is it okay now? It's okay. A little mic. It's okay. You can do it. Is that better?
I'm sorry.
No, that's perfectly fine. Like if it was like crackling and being awful, that I'm sorry. I hate doing that to people.
That's what I get for being an ass. It made her blow up. I know it's quesadilla and I know it's fajita. I know what it is. Like earlier today on Twitter, I tweeted out, I was like, I'm eating croquetas de jamón and paparillenas, and people were like, oh my god, Cuban food.
And you're like, oh my god, I'm Cuban.
Yeah, I'm this thing.
Yeah. So we're like about 5 minutes over for the break.
Yeah, probably do that. Do the break thing.
We can come back. I have one other clip to show, and then we can go on about the pronunciation issue a little bit more. I
don't know. It calls Lucy to blow up. She threw stuff at you. You're definitely sleeping on a couch tonight. I don't know what's going on. I mean, maybe put this one to rest.
Celeste and Daedrus. Oh wait. How do you say my warlock's name?
Imbri?
Nobody ever gets Lucidity right, so.
Well, Lucid? Like that? Yeah. Wait, it's because, like, when I was reading it the first time, like, the I in Lucidity disappeared, like, the second I, and so it was Lucite, and so I was like, oh, Lucite, like, bright, and not Lucidity, as in, I don't know, lucid.
I just say Lucidity.
It It was actually a play off of Lucidity. Kai wins.
I love that. So, do we want to take it away for a break? Flatus, since you picked out the videos, did you want to say anything about them, or do you just want to let them go with no explanation other than what was your theme? What were you thinking about when you chose these two particular videos?
Tamlin, what am I thinking about any time of the day? I don't know what's going on up here. It's like wacky land in this place. If I start to question what I'm thinking about, the whole world may implode on itself for all I know. Let's put it this way. You get to learn something, and you get to listen to something. You get to learn something, actually learn something in a manner I think we all should grow accustomed to learning. By me, comedy. And we get to listen to some beautiful music, and take it away. Oh, camping! I'll do that, maybe.
You'll do that?
I'll do it. Why not? I'll do it. Camping in 5, 4, 3, 2, vagina.